Welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Today we're doing an early one because for some reason my work decided to schedule the annual holiday party today. So I'm going to be doing the interview here with Mikey and with our guest tonight, Mr. Jeff Brooks, whom I met at B.A.H.A.Con just this last August. And as I put in the description box, I was absolutely blown away by the amount of T-shirts that Jeff owns because every time he went up to introduce another speaker, he was always wearing a different T-shirt with a hilarious saying on it. And I thought I had a lot of T-shirts, but I think Jeff takes the cake here.
Put to shame.
Welcome to the show, Jeff. Great to finally have you get you on here. Well, we can't hear you,
you're muted.
Oh, it says...
Oh, wait, wrong one. There we go. Yes, welcome, Jeff.
No,
can't hear you.
Can't hear you, bud. What the hell happened? We were just hearing you fine.
It looks like it's muted on your end.
Yeah. Check. Are the headphones do they have a
mute button?
A mic on them or something? Well, then.
I can translate. What Jeff is saying is he's happy to be here and he's happy to tell his story. And if Apple would get their fingers out of their own butts, we'd have it working. Probably just switched over somehow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In the meantime, I guess, until we figure out what the hell's going on. The little bars thing says X on it, so somehow I think that might be the issue.
You want to just refresh and come back? Just hit F5 and then it'll refresh the page, and we'll just try a new link.
He's on an iPad, so I don't think there's an F5.
Oh.
Yeah, that's bizarre because we were just talking about you. We were talking with you moments ago. But I think somehow you've disconnected. Can you see the buttons below that say mute or stop video or add cam? Yeah. Maybe
just mute and unmute.
Check the default thing there, I guess.
I'm actually not sure what the UI looks like on an iPad. I'll have to look at that one day. Ooh, that's hot.
All right, so
you want to just leave this meeting and then just come back? Just try to same link, same everything. We'll just try to get a fresh connection. So Neil, it snowed here.
Did it?
Yeah.
We didn't get any snow here.
We got like 2.5 inches. And it's like powdery stuff. I'm like, oh. Just enough to be annoying. There will be no sledding. There will be no what's it called? No snowmen.
No, can't even build snowmen.
But they were doing that in Texas, northern Texas. They got like better snow than us. And I was like,
that's weird.
It's 17 degrees here, and we get snow, and it sucks. And they get the cool, sled-y. Oh, let me just in a corn cob pipe. Like they get the fun stuff. We got nothing out here. Nothing. There we go.
All right.
Now
we've got you.
Got me now?
We've got them, Captain. His signal's weak, but I've got them. I transported them in.
Perfect.
All right.
There we go.
Now we can hear you. So once again, welcome to the show. Welcome
Thanks
to the show,
for having
man.
me. I really appreciate you having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, well, we had you scheduled once, but I had to change it because of some shit that happened, I guess. But
I'm pretty flexible, so it's not a big deal.
I wish I was. I used to be.
Neil drops a dime at this point, and that motherfucker just lives on the floor now.
It's funny you said that because there's literally a dime on the ground in the parking lot where I park the car in the underground here, and every time I walk by, I go, "Oh, if I could bend over." I'd be a dime richer.
Man, if you weren't so close to the ground.
Anyway, Jeff, what we do here is we chat with folks about how they found their way free from their previous belief systems, whether it be religious or whatever. So basically, we just ask you sort of take us on your journey or tell us your story. And if we have any questions, you'll kind of see us go, oh, we might need some clarification or something like that sort of thing.
Sure.
So why don't we let you take it away, and we'll probably abruptly interrupt you at some point.
Awesome. So my journey isn't probably as exciting as most, but I'll share with you what it was. So I was raised by my mom and dad. My dad was atheist my whole life. My mom actually married him when I was 3. So my biological dad, he left when I was about 6 months old. So I never really knew him. But my mom got remarried to my dad when I was 3. He was from England, and he was atheist. So my mom was a member of the United Church, which is a fairly modern, I guess, church as far as churches go.
What's their dogma? Like, what's their thing?
Well, they were sort of built out of the kind of the Presbyterian, I think, and maybe the Anglican, and just kind of split off because they thought those people were too crazy. So they were maybe not quite as crazy, but like in one of the churches where I was born and raised in Stratford, Ontario, they had a transgender minister back in the 80s, which was very progressive for any church, really. And certainly
kudos.
They were very supportive of LGBTQ rights, always had been, or at least as long as I can remember when it became a thing. So,
is that the same as United Church of Christ? Is that what we're talking about?
No, United Church of Canada, which is a little different. The United Church of Christ in the States is a bit more, I mean, I think they're not as fundamental either, but certainly United Church of Canada is very not fundamental.
The one thing that I take out of all of our interviews is I get to like nerd out about everybody's individual church and individual denomination. I'm like, yeah, United Church of we got a new one, boys. We got a new one. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it was. I mean, say it was fairly progressive as far as churches go.
Yeah,
sounds like it. Yeah, for sure.
And I remember going as a kid. We had like family friends that we'd drive to church with, because my mom didn't drive and my dad didn't go to church. So, and I remember about 12 of us, it seems, stuffed into a little Volkswagen Beetle back in the day. What must have looked like a clown car when the doors opened up and everyone piled out. So that was my, I guess, introduction to religion. I can't honestly say that I ever really believed it. I think, you know, when you're young, you hear the stories, and the stories are cool because they tell you about the Noah's Ark stuff and the cool animals. They fail to bring up the part about, you know, the murder of, you know, millions of people.
Animals
doesn't hit the radar.
The animals were saved. That's what you got to focus on.
2 of them were. Yes. And they certainly don't, you know, when you go to, they're teaching you the stories of the Bible in Sunday school, they don't mention, you know, Lot having sex with his daughters. So, kind of, they leave that one out amongst a number of others. So, as I got older, though, and really the reason I was going to church or continue to go to church was a couple of my good friends went to that church. In fact, one of them, who's still, you know, one of my best friends today, lives in Florida. His father was
so sorry.
the minister. Yeah, so is he. So is he. Yes, he's a librarian of all things. He's a librarian, and he got a job in Florida. So
that's a cool job.
He's not happy about it either. So, but that's where he is right now. So, and then I think really the thing that cinched for me that it wasn't real or wasn't true was when I got into the sciences. I got into like middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And I was really interested in the sciences, chemistry, biology, physics. And I don't know how, and I mean, a lot of scientists do, or some scientists do. I really don't know how you can connect, you can be, believe in scientific theories and at the same time believe that there's a God. Like the 2 things to me are not compatible with each other.
The age of the earth and God.
Yes.
The distance to a star and God.
Yes. And I mean, the answer was always, well, some of these things are parables to explain things. Like there wasn't really an Adam and Eve. That's just a way of explaining things. But then they get into the New Testament and go, okay, but that part's real. Like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, that part's verbatim.
yeah, like where do you draw the line, right? And
Convenience.
there's a guy in my high school, a few people in my high school that were much more fundamental, Pentecostal, and talked about being born again and all this stuff. And I didn't have a clue what they were even talking about. It wasn't dogma that was spoken about in my church. So
the evangelicals.
Well, hold
Yeah,
on. When you say it wasn't dogma spoken in your church, what kind of dogma were they trying to espouse?
They talked about Jesus and the good things he said, and they sang some songs, and that was pretty much it. Like there really wasn't.
And we're out of here.
Yeah, like they didn't. They weren't literalists. The United Church of Canada. They didn't say there was an Adam and Eve, or they didn't believe that there really was a Noah's Ark. Those things weren't. They were stories and parables and myths and legends. But when it gets to the New Testament, I mean, they believed in a resurrection, and they believed in that a person named Jesus existed, and they never talked about like him coming back and the people being sucked up into heaven and all that kind of bullshit.
Did they sell the hell? Did they sell hell? Were they real?
No,
fire and brimstone. The guys,
no,
didn't get brought up much.
No, I mean, I think the concept was there, but they never talked about it. It was never something like, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell, which was good because I'd be on fire. Yeah. So that was kind of my thing. So then as I got into sciences, I realized that, none of this really makes sense from a scientific perspective.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing too, was the sciences as well.
Yeah. And then I got a job. I went to college and I got a job as a first responder in Ontario. And
thanks for your service.
I just some of the things that I.
Oops. All right, Jeff, what button did you push this time?
Okay, there you go. He's back. Oh, we lost his audio again.
Lost your audio. And of course, Infidel has to show up with this one. Scientism is your religion.
Right. I love that. You're worshiping Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, dude, I just like the video. It's not that serious. Like, it's there's no worship going on. I don't send Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye 10% of my earnings every month.
Yeah, me either.
Wouldn't they love that?
Nope. Try a reboot again, Jeff.
Let's try it again.
Stop pushing buttons, Jeff.
Curse you, Aqua Scum. Oh, and it says here, I looked up their Wikipedia. It says the policies of the church are inclusive and liberal. There are no restrictions of gender, sexual orientation, or marital status for a person considering entering the ministry. Interfaith marriages are recognized. Communion is offered to all Christian adults and children, regardless of denomination or age. So they are out there just being nice. It's the most Canadian Christians I can think of, honestly. It's like, what if Christianity was Canadian? And it's just nice and inclusive.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So I got a job working. I worked as a first responder, and some of the things I would see, I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that there would be a God. Now, at that point, I already didn't believe. I was already atheist by that point. But those things just really cemented it, right? And said, this is absolutely, like, I had an 8-year-old kid that got run over by a dump truck. Like that, there's no plan. Like God, there's no, if there's a plan, if that's part of God's plan, then God's an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
Straight up. There's no way that kid deserved that shit. Like, there ain't no way.
No, he's standing on a sidewalk and someone makes a right turn too tight, right? Like, it just, that shit just isn't, doesn't make sense from the perspective of an all-loving God. So,
nope.
Yeah. So then I became atheist. I mean, I called myself, I think, agnostic originally, but certainly didn't believe in a God and didn't believe in a higher power or any of that stuff. And then just as time has gone on, I've become, listening to different podcasts and different YouTube channels and, getting more information. I think I've just become more active in, I would like to almost say the movement, but I don't really think it's a movement, um, but in atheism. And that's how I kind of got hooked in with Baja and started, working with the group here and, working on the conference and that kind of stuff. So I know enough about science to know it was bullshit. But I didn't know enough to always know why. So I remember watching who's that idiot from the state? Well, there's so many of them. Hovind, Kent Hovind.
I was about to say you got to be a
Oh,
little bit more specific
Yeah,
with me and my
yeah,
brethren here. There's a lot
yeah, yeah.
of
So he did a thing called like why evolution isn't real, and did a big
Oh,
video series.
Kent Hovind. Yes.
Ken
Ah.
Hovind, yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so I watched that and I'm like, I know it's bullshit. Like I know he's wrong, but I didn't really know why everything was wrong because he has some very interesting arguments and he has a really interesting way of spinning facts to fit his narrative. And then I saw a
Yeah.
YouTube series by a Canadian YouTuber called Logic. And Logic
mhm.
goes through and breaks down everything, all the videos, and breaks down every single thing and why it's crazy, right? And that was really helpful for me. Again, I was already a non-believer. I was already atheist by that point, um, but those kind of things where people um, kind of the counter apologetics,
Yeah.
really have been interesting for me to listen to. So
I haven't seen much by Logic lately, actually.
Oh,
no, I've a few things, but yeah, not a lot. You
Whacking
gotta love the
atheist.
top hat, so
infinite. Yeah, the
Yeah.
whack and atheist thing. I think we should all just next time he does that, just go into his chat and just let him know how it's like, wait, sexual you want to do a sexual act to an atheist? Or do you want to murder an atheist? What are you saying, sir?
yes,
Which one is it?
yes.
Are you trying to fillet us or fillet us? Which is it, sir?
Be more clear.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he's just a
being vague is his that's his gift, right? Like he has the gift of
yeah,
vague. Like he kind of
yeah,
mentions things tangentially, and then if you're already on his team, you're just like, yeah, I think, yeah, I think that makes sense. But he
yeah.
doesn't actually say anything. He just
Anything.
No,
And
ever
he calls
like,
himself a doctor, which I laugh at every time.
yeah, I'm a doctor
yeah,
too. I just write
yeah.
it on a piece of paper. I hereby say
I
that I'm a doctor, and now I'm a doctor.
I I couldn't I couldn't go get my PhD to become a doctor because I know I would use that term inappropriately. I would be telling people I'm a doctor in situations where really it wouldn't be reasonable or
You're like
fair.
an
So
you're like a super lawyer or super architect. Is there a
yeah,
doctor in the house? I'm a doctor.
yeah, it'd be more like
A
I'm a
lawyer.
doctor. I'll have a look. That kind of stuff. So
What do you think, Doc? I don't know. I do teeth.
exactly. Yeah.
No
So
teeth in that hole.
What the hell movie was that when they were all introducing themselves like doctor, 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 doctor? It's
oh
like, it's one of the Leslie Nielsen type
I was about to say,
movies.
sounds like Airplane.
yes. Well, I was gonna say the Three Stooges did something like that too. There was the
Oh,
Three
yeah.
Stooges where they're all
Dr. Fine,
Oh, that's
Dr.
true
Fine,
too.
yeah,
Dr. Howard,
yeah,
Dr. Fine.
yeah, yeah,
Dr. Green Thumb, paging Dr. Green Thumb.
yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, there you
anyway.
go. Logan's nail it. Thank you, Logan. Trust me. I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. So
Yes,
what even when you were younger, like what was one of those like scientific things where you're just kind of like, hold on a minute,
Oh, I was just gonna ask that. Fuck.
I'm all in your brain, son. Rent free.
yeah, it was. I think it was mostly biology. So when I was in high school, one of the courses I was able to take, we had a few sort of extra courses in the high school I was in, and they actually had an anthropology course that I
Cool.
was able to
Ooh.
take. Yeah, and so that was really a good one. Like it really highlighted the evolution process, right? And then it just makes sense when you see that. And then
Mhm.
also in biology, when you look at some of the things, and I just read Abby Hafer's book
not so intelligent design, which was really good, and kind of speaks to it as well. Just these things about the human body. You look, I go, well, this isn't fucking intelligent. This is stupid. Like why would our breathing tube and our eating tube be next to each other? Like this stuff
The
doesn't make sense from
same
an.
tube.
It makes
Why
no
don't we have a
sense.
blowhole? I think we should all have blowholes. We should be able to breathe out of our neck or some weird shit, and then just eat out of a totally separate tube. No more choking.
Absolutely.
You out of me.
No
Yeah,
more.
I wouldn't
No.
have no
We
more
could
people
do-
choking to death.
We could swim laps in the pool for days. Don't even have to come up.
And then the other thing that really I found moving and interesting was physics to a degree, in that it really broke down the laws and that make things happen. And when you can have a formula that can predict things, it sort of takes away this magicalness of the world, right? Which is
Yeah.
not a
Mhm.
bad thing. And then
It's still fascinating though. So
it's absolutely fascinating. It's like I'm really fascinated with astronomy,
Me too.
and just like the sheer size of the universe. And I can understand when people didn't know what made things happen, where you would sit on the earth in your your clay hut or your grass hut, and look at the sky and go, we're the center of everything. Everything
Yeah.
revolves around us, because for us that's what
So what
life
it
is, right?
appears.
Everything revolves around us. And then once you kind of learn about astronomy, and it's like you start to appreciate, I don't think we ever understand the sheer size of the universe. And you think that we're this little speck, like smaller than a speck in this huge universe. How can we be so special? One of the great I guess people that really influenced me early on was Carl Sagan, and
Me
watching
too.
Yeah.
Cosmos, right? That Cosmos series
Yeah.
was amazing. And for a while, my Facebook picture was the blue dot, the picture of Earth from
in the light
in
beam
From
space.
Voyager.
Yeah,
took.
and it's
Yeah.
and it's just this little wee speck, right? And
Yep.
I think my caption I put in there something about, here's a picture of all my friends, right? So
I like it.
Group
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah, exactly. So
World
it's
selfie.
so how can you
It is a
begin to
selfie.
think it's
They fucking sent the command to spin the camera around, to spin the whole
Yep.
probe around to just take one selfie, and then like, all right, back to
Yep.
work, guys, back to work.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which fascinating to me.
What was that?
So how can we think that
68?
we're so special when we're just this space dust, right?
Mote
Like
of
at
dust.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a cute moat, though. We have a very cute little moat. It's very blue from afar. We're very adorable.
it is adorable.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. No question. But yeah, I find that and I don't find it any less amazing. Like, I don't believe in magic and ghosts or any of that supernatural stuff,
No, no,
obviously.
no.
I think, but it doesn't make anything less amazing. Like when you look up at the
Right.
sky and you see the stars, and you understand that you're seeing things as they were millions of years ago, right? Really looking back in
Yep.
history almost.
Or a couple of hours if you can see Jupiter. It's like half. It's like half an hour. It's like half an hour behind, which is still pretty cool.
Still pretty cool. And you have to be in awe of that, I think, regardless of if you think it's a magical thing or not. I think it's still awe-inspiring. So
Yeah, but that whole time thing is crazy, because if you think about it, if there's another planet with beings on it and they're looking out and they see us through some sort of version of telescope that they might have, they might be seeing us, a couple 100 million years ago. So there might be fucking dinosaurs roaming around or something.
Well, zoom in and see the T-Rex.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson has made that point when people, ask him if he believes in UFOs, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I believe in unidentified flying objects, but the first word is unidentified." But to think that spacecraft from other planets have come here, why would they come here? Because what they would have seen wouldn't be us, because of the distance and just the amount of energy and time it would take to travel those distances, right? It just doesn't make a lot of sense that they would be able to.
Our radio waves have been like pumping out in the space since like the 40s. They're not coming here.
Earlier than that, actually.
No.
Some of the first ones were Hitler.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, hell no. We're not going to Planet Hitler. No, thanks. No,
Yeah, right.
thanks. No. Let's
But
go
what-
in and take like a visual. Like, no, I heard the radio waves coming out of there.
yeah.
Do not go down there.
So that's like 80 years. So I figure anything greater than 80 light years away hasn't even heard those, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
80 light years isn't, in the big scheme of things, like that's nothing, right?
I think
Nope.
our solar system's almost, let me see how big it is across.
That's not 80 light years, but
Not 80. I think it might be like half of one. Let me see. Size.
well, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
radio waves they're still blasting out there.
They are. Yeah.
Of course, over time they will degrade. So who knows what people are going to get
Yeah.
at a certain point, right? So
Yeah. And
So
if they
how-
hear some
how-
of the stuff coming out now, they'll definitely want to turn around and go home if they hear some of the crap that's coming out on the airwaves today.
who's this fucking orange dude? Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Why did they
what's with
elect this
this?
clown?
Yeah, no kidding.
If you include the Oort cloud, which is like that layer of comets that's like way, way
Yep.
far out there, 3 light years across.
There you go.
Our
Wow.
solar
There you
system,
go.
3 light years across.
It's pretty big, actually.
I bet you didn't know that, nerds.
Considering
then
the
you
closest
figure-
star to us is a little over 4 light years, 4.8,
Oh,
I think, or
yeah.
something like that.
I think it's more than that. I think I read that if you had a map of the universe to a scale where you could cover our solar system with a quarter, the
Mhm.
next closest star is 2,500 quarters away. And everything in
Oh.
between is pretty much just empty space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Shit.
We'll never get there.
No, never say
No.
never.
I mean, if we started right now, in 100 years, those kids would pass us up. And then in 100 years, those kids would get passed up. Then, you know, it's just like, we're just going to have to teleport. All right. Somebody in the chat, figure out someone in the chat, figure out a formula for wormholes because we're
Yep.
tired of waiting. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
warp
sick
drives. We
of
need
waiting.
warp drive.
They're working on it. They're working on
Yep.
Correct,
Yeah.
Tons. Thank you for your.
it. 6 meters.
he is correctly translated it into metric.
Nice. Yeah, it's for us Canadians. We now have it in metric. So perfect.
That's funny.
So how did you end up getting involved with Baja?
So the first year that Baja ran the conference, I went as a spectator, just went as a part of the audience. And the only reason I found out about it was I was on Seth Andrews' website, and it had where am I going to be this year? And I'm
Mhm.
looking at it, and it had all these places he was going to be in Texas and Florida, and then it had Point Edward, Ontario, or Sarnia, Ontario, and I'm like, that's literally 25 minutes from my house. Like, I had no idea. So I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this thing, and what is this Baja thing? So we just went originally just as participants, and then Baja does a few things. So we have once a month we have a breakfast, an atheist breakfast. We
You eat atheists?
used to do babies.
Oh, right.
And then we used to do we still do sometimes like a movie night where we'll find a good like atheist kind of movie or a secular movie and order in some pizza and have some movies. And then the first event I went to was the solstice dinner. So that every year we have a solstice dinner, December 20th or 21st, depending on the day it falls. When day works for us. And then so I went to this dinner. So when I was there, I met Bob Barnes, who's sort of the guy that started
he's a good
Baja.
guy.
He's really
Yep.
the great guy. He's was 85 this year, so
Yeah.
he's doing really well. And he contacted me and said, "Hey, we're looking for board members. We want to really. The first conference was pretty successful. We want to do it again, and we need some assistance with that. Would you be interested in being on the board?" So that's why I got on the board. And then they were looking for someone to MC it for the second one. The MC for the first year wasn't great, apparently. I didn't think he was anyway. And then they asked if I would do it. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll do it. So there I am.
And
This is our third year and fourth year coming up. So,
which I'm definitely, I'm really hoping to be there again for this upcoming one for sure.
We'll
it should be good.
if they're still in America and I can find some way to get, I have a little baby, so we'll see if I'll be able to scoot away. But I would like to scoot away for at least one con this year.
Yeah, we've made an offer, I think, to have like California, Washington, and like the West Coast there join Canada as an option. So instead of you
That
guys stealing us,
that has been floating around for many years. I mean, I remember
a
my
long time.
dad
Yeah,
talking about it, calling it
yeah,
Cascadia, like BC
yeah,
and just separating from everyone and being their own place
yeah.
called Cascadia.
Well,
Yeah.
fair enough. But I think if you're touching the Great Lakes, you should be part of Canada. Here in Chicago, I would just like to be, grandfathered in, and take me with you, please. Please don't leave me.
Oh my gosh,
Don't leave
I
us.
love Chicago. That's one of my favorite cities to go visit.
You guys should have the con in Chicago. It's like everyone can fly here easy. It's nice and cheap. You guys should just do it here. Come on down. We'll love to have you.
I would absolutely do it there. I'm a huge fan of Chicago. Although I'm not entirely sure I want to drive down to the States or be in the States for the next 4 years. Just want to see
Yeah,
what
right.
happens. I don't want to get deported. Yeah, what a great city that is. So many things to see and do. I really enjoy it. My girlfriend and I went there with some friends just before COVID hit, and it was perfect. It was just a great time. So
the before times.
yes, yeah, BC before COVID. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it should be good this year. We have 5 doctors going to be speaking. So that's the most doctors I've seen with pants on. So that's
Doctor.
so that's a good thing. And we got, of course, Seth Andrews is coming back this year. He's always
return.
such a great speaker, and Forrest Valkai is coming back again this year. So he was
Is
very
he?
dynamic last year as well. Yes, we got Forrest Valkai coming.
And you got Erica too.
Yes, Gutsick Gibbons is coming. Yeah.
Oh, that's my
Yeah.
favorite.
She's awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
She's so funny.
Really cool.
Yeah. My only concern, I don't know with her and Forrest. I don't know if we can have them in the same room or if it's like the Ghostbusters
They're
and crossing the
crazy together.
streams. Yeah.
Make a
crazy
singular
together.
You create a singularity.
That's my concern.
then-
We're gonna have a black hole. Like,
And then everything's collapsing in and all of this.
I know
Her
it's not good.
Hovind debate was so funny because he always wants to be like low key, sneak, nasty, disrespectful to people.
Yeah.
And she's just the nicest lady. And he had nothing, and he had to just take it. Oh, I just don't agree with you on that point. And he's like, why aren't you?
Yep. Although, I've seen her be fairly forceful with some people that are pushy back to her. So she's definitely got some spunk in her, but just a great speaker and a fun person. And I think it'll be really good to have them. So it'll be her first time at B.A.H.A. Yes.
I was fortunate enough to meet her for the first time at one of the Faithless forums. Her and Jackson Wheat, who's also another kind of archaeological kind of guy, anthropology, paleontology, all that kind of stuff. And I had pizza with the two of them. We went in on a couple of different pizzas and
baby pizza.
And I would really hate to see if you actually had the three of them in a room together. If you had Forrest Jackson and Gutsick Gibbon, none of the creationists would stand a chance with these three together.
There you go. As you're speaking of pizza, a little bit of pizza trivia for you.
Ooh.
So the city I work in, which is called Chatham, Ontario, which is not that far from Sarnia. In Chatham, Ontario, was where the Hawaiian pizza was.
Hawaiian pizza was born. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it was
you. It was you. You made all this strife in this land.
I thought that was people that put ketchup on hot dogs that was strife in this land.
I would agree with that.
Hey, it's not actually like that out here in the suburbs, but do not ask for ketchup on a hot dog in the city.
No,
they might put you out. They don't. No
hot dog for you 1 year.
What are you, a child? What do you want me to cut it up? You want me to cut it up for you too and put it in some baked beans? Like, what else do you want from us?
Yes, I think I read somewhere, as long as if you're over 8, don't ask for ketchup on a hot dog.
No, it's like asking for A1 at a steakhouse. The hell's wrong with you? Like, what are you
exactly?
You trying to get put out? Like, what are you doing over here?
Or well done, asking for your steak well done. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, no, that's just
No
Hurts
thanks.
my spirit.
no.
I know.
What's left of it.
Another funny food related thing. I've mentioned this before. The California roll was invented in BC.
Yes, that's
You're
right.
just trying to make Cascadia. That's all that was.
Yeah.
That was an early attempt to try to trick people into thinking they're in California.
And peanut butter is also Canadian, was made in Canada.
Yep,
So there you
that's
go.
right.
Invented in Canada.
Yep.
See, what would you do without us? Like, you guys, like,
Starve.
stop trying to beat us up. Stop trying to steal our country.
I lived on Mountain Dew and peanut butter sandwiches throughout high school. So
Y'all wouldn't even have basketball if it wasn't for Mike. What was his name? The Canadian guy that invented
Naismith.
basketball.
Yeah.
Naismith.
Yeah.
And also, American football is from Canada.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks. Now we got jocks. Appreciate it. Any other helpful tips that you guys want to just leave down?
Baseball, baseball Canadian, hockey Canadian. I mean, you guys, I'm sure
Lacrosse
invented
also
some
Canadian.
stuff. Lacrosse Canadian. Yeah.
Lacrosse is just hockey without ice. Don't pretend like it's not
What are you
hockey.
talking
It's just hockey. They have like goalies and stuff. Like there's a net.
Yeah.
This is your
it's a
summer
great big
hockey.
triangular net, but yeah.
It's just a regular net turned on its side. Y'all can't fool me. This is just summer hockey for the Canadians.
That's
Grass
his name,
hockey.
James Naismith. There you go. That's the guy that invented basketball.
Washington, BC.
Washington, BC. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yo, that's kind of slick. I like it.
That kind of rolls off your tongue, doesn't it?
BC and DC. I like it.
Yeah, well, we're
I will
pretty
be your
friendly with
president.
each other, anyways. Like our state, and we
That's the weed.
good rapport. Yeah, might be. Yeah.
That whole region is just a little high all the time, so they're just generally nicer to
true.
everybody.
I know it's one of the only places in Canada, or was I think still is, where they have a really solid cross-border interoperability program in emergency response. So if there's a disaster in Vancouver or in British Columbia, people from Washington State, responders and emergency management people, can very easily come up and assist, and vice versa. It's a little more complicated in other places, but they work so closely together on those things. It's really good to see.
Oh, a shit ton of forestry here, so that's BY, right?
Yeah,
so
and
we're quick
be on
to
the same
help
team.
each other right away.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our planes are down in California right now, actually, water bombers.
Yes,
whatnot.
Yeah, and helicopters.
Yeah,
I was about to say, do you guys get up there by you, Neil? Do you guys even get fires? Because it's so freaking wet up there.
What? You've never been to the Okanagan, have you? Every year, Kelowna's on fire.
Oh, really?
Every fucking year we get fires up here.
Oh, you got mountains though, right? So it's probably blocking some of the rain. Because I was about to say, you guys are raining like every other day. You're like freaking Hawaii.
No, there are other places in Canada that get far more rain than we do. But we are, what do you call a rainforest here? So yeah, and when the clouds come in, they have to dump their rain before they go over the mountains. So that's why we get so much rain here. But there are other places in Canada that get more rain than we do. But yeah, it's we even got the nickname Raincouver.
Now you're just making up places. Thank you. In the slow toboggan or whatever he just said. Like he just makes up stuff. He just says whatever. He just makes up a state, and I just have to say it's real. I can't deny it.
Dinobot says, "Is this why Trump wants Canada to be the 51st state? I tell you what he wants. He wants stuff for Putin, because everything that he's had his eye on and pointed to, like Panama, Greenland, and Canada, Putin's had his eye on, because he wants control of the waterways, all the different waterways there. So, and I think Russia has been sanctioned at Panama Canal, so they have issues going through there. So."
I hate to make this political, but Neil, it might be time for you guys to release the tactical orca. They've been training over the last couple summers, and they have been sinking boats out there in the Atlantic. Just give them a little ring-a-ding-ding. Say, hey, I need a squadron of orca over here. I got some feisty boys.
The tank mooses and
Weapons grade pigeons.
Weapons grade pigeons, yeah, or also known as cobra chickens, and the orca submarines.
I'm just saying the orca submarines would scare me from doing anything. If Canada can control the orca, they control the map.
Who says we can't?
control the Canada geese, man. We take out planes.
Right.
What do you think
Yeah,
about
drop all your bombers in a heartbeat with a flock of flying V's.
why did Sully's plane hit the river? And that was because of Canada geese. Watch out, man.
They're so dumb. They see a freaking plane coming, like, well, I was going this way first. Like, he'll have to go around us. Oh God. Chunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got some crazy animals up here. Hell, we even have 3 different species of scorpions here, for crying out loud. So
right behind you.
Yep, and rattlesnakes. We have rattlesnakes in Ontario, at least.
Rattlesnakes and wolverines. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't they
No,
live
not
like
the one
way
from
up?
the X-Men.
Well, Logan is from Canada.
He was Canadian too.
He's Canadian, yeah.
Yeah.
To be
they
fair,
only made him that way after the fact. Wolverine wasn't even supposed to be a mutant or an X-Men. He was supposed to be a weapon that the military made. But over time, they changed his whole story, and he was Canadian, and he was a weapon at first. He was Weapon X, and he ended up the first introduction. He's fighting Hulk, right? So he was just supposed to be a Hulk story sort of thing, but
a Hulk.
He was popular.
The Deadpool character is Canadian as well, so
yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We got 2 of the big ones.
Yeah, I saw your little Canadian Love Fest movie. I saw it.
You want to watch? I watched a movie yesterday, and it's won like a ton of independent film awards. It's a Canadian movie, and it's done in black and white. It's not a silent movie because you can hear them going and making noises and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're speaking, it usually comes up in the whole, and that's the whatever they said.
Yeah,
it's called Hundreds of Beavers.
I'm not looking that up.
No, I watched the I said, okay, this won this many awards, and I watched it, and it's fun, but it's goofy as shit. But
I wouldn't look it up on a work computer. I'll tell you that.
You know, I mean,
no, it's not that kind of movie.
This movie brought to you by our friends at NordVPN.
The biggest sexy scene in the entire thing is when the girl lifts up her leg and pulls the skirt or her pant up and shows a little bit of ankle. And everyone loses their shit, right? It's too funny.
Hot action.
But it is a Canadian movie, and it's funny. It's funny for sure. It's like a knee slapper, kind of Hundreds of Beavers, I think it's called.
Ollie says that in Ontario they have a rattlesnake with fur.
What?
That's how it stays warm in the winter.
A rattlesnake with fur? What? Get out of here.
I think I dated her in high school.
I could totally see like a rattlesnake out in the snow with like little earmuffs.
Yeah.
He's out there like, what's up? A little hat, a little Santa hat.
So, Jeff, were you much of a churchgoer before deciding fuck this shit? Or
I mean, we went every Sunday, but really
more of a community thing?
Until I was in high school, but not because for me it was more of a social thing to see friends of mine. So in the city I was in, of course, we had a number of public schools, and I had a couple good friends that didn't go to my public school, but they did go to the same church. So so we would hang out together at church. We were a little probably disruptive in things like Sunday school because we didn't really give a shit. But and one of them is my friend from Florida. His dad was the minister. So so that was really the extent of it. And I went because Mom went, and she would just take me with her. And then when we'd come home, Dad would have a nice English breakfast waiting for us when we got home, which was actually the best
beautiful.
part. So yeah, he'd do the fried bread and and the bacon fat and all that stuff. So yeah, it was really good. So
wow.
But I was never part of any of the groups or clubs there. Like I was, even like I was never into Boy Scouts or those sort of
I did Cubs, but like
religious
for 1 year,
organizations. Yeah.
and I was like,
Um,
yeah, I'm not doing this again.
but I remember my son, he played hockey a few years ago. He's didn't really like hockey, didn't really work for him, so he fences now.
Ooh, that's
Yeah, it's
fun.
pretty cool. It's
So
very
don't
fun.
piss them off. Is that what you're saying?
Fun. It's fun to watch. I don't understand a lot of it still, but it's fun to watch. Been doing that for about 10 years. But
So
there
fast.
was yes, it's very fast. There was a pickup hockey league in our area, and it was run by one of the very fundamental churches.
Ooh.
And but it was cheap. So we would go go and play hockey every Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, and they would skate around, and then they would have like an on ice, almost a sermon. And my son would say to me, like, I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, I don't. I said, it makes sense. He goes, none of this stuff. He goes, and he was at maybe 8 at the time, 7 at the time. He's like, this shit doesn't even make sense to me. I'm like, I get it. So then we went to the final, like their year-end party at a pizza party at the church, and had a magician, and the magician was
Ooh.
very right-wing,
Ooh.
creationist Christian, and so he's like, does the rope trick, where they cut the rope in half and then puts it back together, and he's like, this is like the snake that talked to Eve, and this is in the Garden of Eden, and does all this stuff.
Wasn't
So
a
then
snake. Fuck.
he he asks for the next trick. He asked for volunteers. I just looked at my son and said, "You better not put up your hand."
Don't
He's like,
don't do it. I
because
already
you
know
won't
what you're
know.
gonna do, so don't do
No,
it.
you will not know the answer to any of the questions.
He's gonna do the
So, like
thing,
both
and
my
you're gonna do the
kids,
thing.
I didn't really talk about atheism or lack of religion or God with my children. I didn't talk about God either. Um, so I just figured they would make up their own minds
Mhm.
as they got older. And
And that's the right way to do it, if you ask me.
Yeah.
my daughter's 24 now. My son's 22. They're both atheists. Like neither one of them believe, which I think goes to show, like if you're not indoctrinated when you're young, then um you don't believe this stuff. Like you just you have to get them young, and that's the whole what churches
Right.
do, right?
That's why
Yes.
they
I
always
worked
have
with
the
a
best
guy.
basketball hoops. The church
Yeah,
always had the best hoop and the best playground because he had to get the kids in there.
and they have have the buses. They go and pick all the kids up
Hmm.
for Sunday school ahead of time, so they can have more time to indoctrinate them. And a guy I worked with in my previous job, he was in emergency management, like very logical guy. Like we talk about when the COVID response, he was involved with myself as we help manage the COVID response. Like understood, vaccines and the benefit of it, and understood, all the science and the way to. But
Right.
he believes that Noah's Ark actually happened. The world's 5,000 years old, and Adam and Eve existed. And it amazes me how people can have kind of
Both ideas.
separate that one piece in their brain where reality and evidence doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but yet for the rest of their life, like they understand what reality is, and they understand science and that kind of stuff. I always find that fascinating how people can sort of split that piece away.
The cognitive
And
dissonance. Yeah.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
think it goes back to, like, they were indoctrinated with that at an early age, right? So when they were first taught all those things, they believed it before they really knew what to believe and not believe. And now once you're
Right.
in there, it's so hard to get out of it. And I know, chatting with some of our speakers last
Oh,
year,
yeah.
Dr. Bowen, as an example, and I know Seth
Dr. Josh.
Andrews.
Dr. Josh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk to them, and like I said to Josh, we had quite a nice conversation, and I said, like, it must be hard when you look back and think to your former self and think you actually believed these things, right? And now you're looking at it going, this is crazy. Like, how that must be really quite a mind screw with you. And he said that we know one of the hardest parts to get over, and he still struggles with sometimes, is the concept of hell, and
Mm.
Right.
that
Mhm.
that fear of
I hear
hell. And
that a lot.
yeah, and it just shows, which I think our we're seeing with the Republican Party in the States right now, and I think for forever, but fear is an incredible motivator, right?
Mhm.
Like
That's what got
the
us on the
reason
moon.
that it's 100% why, and the reason that the Republican Party, that President Trump, soon President Trump, did so well, is because they scare everybody to say, you know what, transgender people are going to destroy sports, gay marriage is going to destroy the family, right? All these immigrants are invading the country and are going to, take over the country and dilute our blood, right? And
Whatever that means.
whatever that means, yeah. I don't
Too
know. You have to ask
late.
Hitler about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it all goes back to fear, and
It's all
that's how they're
divisiveness and
motivating
fear.
people,
Yeah.
is with fear. It's 100% that, and it is the most powerful motivator.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how do you
without
conquer
that
people?
stick, yeah,
Fear,
exactly,
divisiveness.
yeah.
That's how you do it.
Without that stick of hell, right? The carrot of heaven doesn't have the same amount of power. It's really,
Right.
the fear of hell is a greater motivator, and it's sad, and it blows my mind that people can, believe that there's this all-loving God that would create some place and torture people for eternity. Like, it doesn't, like,
A-
sounds more like a psychopath,
And then the justifications are always, well, he has to. It's like, why? Because he says
Yeah.
he has to.
Exactly.
But can he
Yeah,
just
right.
not say that? But he already
Yeah.
said it, so now he has to. It's like,
Yeah.
you could just go back in time and like reverse what you did, right? All powerful. You
Yeah.
just hit her with the neuralizer from Men in Black, just with the
Yeah.
boom, hit the flashy thing. Everybody forgets, and he just like, I didn't say that actually.
Yeah.
So it didn't say that didn't happen. No, he just says everybody that disagrees with me gets to burn.
Yes.
Cool.
According to Justin there, or Yahooligan in the chat, I have a Lego time machine, and he's right. I do. I have a TARDIS up there amongst all these boxes.
It's bigger on the inside than the outside.
Yeah, that's right. So, that makes me wonder if Oscar the Grouch was a Time Lord, because according
Obviously.
to the story, his garbage can is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. So.
I've been watching a lot of Sesame Street. Can confirm Oscar is a Time
Oscar's
Lord.
now a Time Lord. Yeah, yeah.
Especially when it was orange.
Yeah.
I think it makes me a Time Lord because I have a Mini Cooper convertible, and man, it's a lot bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
It's true.
Yeah,
I have a Cooper S. I don't have the convertible though.
Yeah, mine's an S.
We can
but
fix
I
that.
have the
I'll bring my
convertible.
chainsaw
Exactly. We can change that.
or a sawzall.
I mean,
Just
I have a moon roof. Can I just open most of the roof? Do you have to cut it away from the vehicle? I just don't want to put it back on there.
Oh, that's fine. We call you people convertible wannabes.
It's damn. It might as well be a convertible. There's so much air inside there.
Yeah.
Just slows me down.
Yeah, but they're our fun car.
But speaking of traveling back in time, if you could travel back in time to previous believer you, what would be some advice you would give yourself?
I think I would, just tell myself to look at the evidence, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you're young, it's hard to do, right? Because you just don't really understand what that stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say, critically think, and think for yourself. I think when you look at how people get into religions and how religions con people in, it's because the leaders of the
I
religion,
like how you said that. Con.
yeah, they do the thinking for you, right? They tell you
Right.
what you believe
Yeah,
or
they
what you
teach
need to
you
believe.
what to think, not how to think.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, and I think having the ability to understand evidence and to think for yourself and to analyze the information you get and just decide, like, does this make sense to me? That's really a gift that gets people very far in life. And unfortunately, the people that are heavily indoctrinated in Christianity or any of the religions, I think that, they lose the ability to do that critical thinking, and it hurts them in the long run,
Yeah.
because
We're seeing
science
examples
is
of it
what's
now.
going to move things. Well, 100% we are. I mean, I can't remember who said it. I thought it was really a really cool thing, and I wished I knew who it was, but I won't take credit for it because it wasn't me. But they said if tomorrow, if all religions and all science disappeared. If we forgot everything, in a couple of 100 years, science would be back, and science would be exactly the same as it is today. But
Right.
religion, if religion came back, it would be completely different, right? It would be completely separate, and that just speaks to
Behold
reality.
the ancient tablet of Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly.
It is in a forgotten script that only the wise can read. Be kind. Rewind.
Yeah.
I imagine like post-apocalyptic Earth, which will probably happen in like, I don't know, 20 years. Like people will just come back and like go through archaeological, just like, and this, see here, this note on this tablet is it'd be like somebody's bills or something, like, yes, it seems here that the all state is has dominion over this home. Like they would just, like, our bills would be like some sort of like super society. And
what if they found a D&D book?
their ancient tome of their religions.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking they'd be looking at us going, why the hell did they pierce that?
Well, that's just gonna get caught in things. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You do
Is that this place to hang your keys? I don't get it. What's that for?
no moving parts near this one, I think.
Right on.
So true.
Jeff, I want to thank you for joining Mikey and I for the hour.
Yeah, dude.
I really
Yeah, thanks
appreciate
for the
you coming and hanging
opportunity.
out.
Yeah. I wish my conversion story was more exciting, but I think we had a wonderful conversation anyway. So
Yeah.
Well, I learned
I
learned a new church today, so I'm good.
there you go.
I got what I needed. I was like,
There you are.
United Church of Canada.
Yeah, look it up. Well, we actually, a speaker we had the last, not that last year, but the 2 years before. She's a minister with United Church of Canada, and she's atheist, and she's outspoken atheist, and she has her own congregation in a United
That's
Church
amazing.
congregation in Toronto.
I am
That is
baffled.
amazing.
We got to get her on, Neil.
Yeah, I'll figure out a way. Maybe we can figure that
Yeah.
out. That would be a really cool
Yeah.
episode if we could.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
if you
Jeff
could
can-
maybe possibly connect us, Jeff, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Yeah, I can. If I can't connect you, we'll get Bob to do it. But I know.
Oh yeah,
Bob
yeah. I
has
could
all
probably
these.
just ask Bob too.
Bob will have all our contact
Intercede for
information.
us.
Yeah, she's a very interesting lady to talk to, and it would be very interesting, I think, to see
Sweet.
how she made it to where she is.
The
And
atheist pastor.
I still have to get Kate Cohen on, and I also have to get I can't remember her name now. The military girl that did the
oh yes,
chat last year.
yes, it'll come to me too. Yeah, she was the chaplain, minister, atheist chaplain in the
Atheist
Canadian Armed
chaplain.
Forces.
Yeah. Which would be really cool to hear that.
Yeah, it would be. And there's a second one now. They just had a second one get.
Yeah, she mentioned they
in
were
Canada.
grabbing in the second one when we were there.
Yeah. And the United States still has none. There's zero.
Wow, that's not surprising to me. So
No. And
we
some
seem
have
to be
tried.
far
There's
more
been,
progressive up here, for the most
in
part.
some of those things, we certainly are, for sure. I agree.
And we get morons like PP. So, what do you do?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, guys, I have a party tonight. My work decided to do the annual holiday party today. So we are going to do an after party, but it's going to be a little bit shorter because I've got to take off and go to the dinner and whatever later on. So if you're interested in hanging out, just let one of us know. These multiple ways you can get a hold of Mikey or I through Twitter, or I'll never call it X, Blue Sky, Facebook, whatever. You can find us there, and we'll send you a link. Jeff, I don't know if you're able to hang out for a little bit longer. If you are, that'd be cool. And I'll send you another link too. But we'll take a little bit of a break between the two shows, and then we'll get back into it. And we'll have a little bit more fun. We'll talk about some more fun stuff too.
Space.
Sounds good.
All right.
Space. Let's talk space.
Yeah, we can talk more space. But anyway, guys, until then, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the show, well, first of all, let me thank all of our members for being members. We really appreciate you guys hanging out and being members, and appreciate you guys in the chat for hanging out and being a part of the show. And until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the show, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.